So let's get more on this, as well as other issues that were raised at the NEC meeting yesterday. And we're being joined by Mr. Sonny Umar, a former CPS to the former Vice President and spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the program. So, details have emerged.
How are you?
It's great to see you. So details have emerged from the meeting yesterday, and I mean, it's just paraphrased as the PDP asking that Nigeria's democracy be saved. And one of the issues that came up is the amendment of the electoral laws. We understand that the electoral amendment bill is before the National Assembly at this point. Other laws governing elections in the country, we have the Nigerian Constitution and electoral rules and guidelines. So it appears as though we have some of these laws. So is it about amending these laws or even internalizing the ones we have already? Because people will say we have these laws, so maybe we should even start from adhering to them first of all.
Well, what we are saying in essence is that the Electoral Act, which is subsisting at the moment, is the 2010 Electoral Act. And the 2010 Electoral Act is deficient in so many areas. For instance, the 2010 Electoral Act has not captured the card reader as an essential ingredient, or has not even agreed on electronic voting as an essential ingredient of the Electoral Act. So wherever we go to the Supreme Court to challenge a particular result, the Supreme Court has always held that the card reader cannot supplant the voters register. And that is very essential. We also, the INEC has also been bringing so many reforms, one of which is, electronic transfer of results. Now, those things cannot be possible if the Electoral Act is not amended to accommodate such things. So it is important that the Electoral Act is taken care of, because the INEC itself has said now that the card reader is no longer useful because so many things has overtaken it. Now, is that the type of elections we want to be having, where the election is marred by irregularities, and it cannot be checked? Now, these are the issues that the PDP is concerned about. The last elections have always shown that people can go and destroy ballot papers, destroy everything. So you cannot really actually, give a winner. Somebody who has won an election, he cannot be the winner, and nothing can be done to address the issue of electoral violence.
It would
All
seem
these
as
are
though,
very essential.
Mr. Omar, it would seem
There
as
is the
though
need
your party,
for creation of an electoral tribunal.
If I may come in now, just briefly, it would seem as though your party is calling for this, what you call reforms, perhaps because you didn't quite do well during the 2019 election in the country. So is this why some are saying that if you had perhaps done well, then this will have been no problem, let's move on with this?
No, Mr. Kayode, I have been in this studio several times, and even before the elections, we have called for there was an amendment to the Electoral Act, which we have called on Mr. President to append his signature to, which he has refused. The PDP has always been consistent on the conduct, on the amendment of the Electoral Act. So it is not even after the elections that we are calling. It is even before the elections that we are calling. And that election, the 2019 elections, was affected by the absence of the Electoral Act. Otherwise, the electronic transfer of results would have taken place. The INEC server would have been evidence in court. Everything would have been accepted at the tribunal, but it could not be accepted because those were not part of the Electoral Act. We were still using the 2010 Electoral Act. And our call is that election must be transparent at all times. And more so, we have to be improving every day from electoral, there has to be reforms at every time. Now, during the last administration before the coming of this one, there were calls, by this, that the Justice Uwais Electoral Committee reforms should be employed. But the government promised one of their cardinal responsibility was that they were going to implement every of the Justice Uwais Committee report. True to their words, when they came in, Mr. Ken Inamani, former Senate President, was appointed. who in turn became the chairman of the committee. Since they did, a review of that report, nothing has been heard again about it.
One final
and so
thing.
the elections are now marred by irregularities.
Mr. Umar, just one final thing. So we understand that there might be another NEC meeting, and some are saying perhaps it's about the result of the Supreme Court concerning Imo State. So just in 30 seconds before we go, are there plans in the future, and how is the party going to handle that particular court ruling?
Well, even now, we are not saying that we do not agree with the Supreme Court. We are only saying that the Supreme Court erred. Now, the Supreme Court, like Justice Oputa said, they are human beings, so they can be infallible.
Right.
They can make mistakes, and then it is their duty to correct themselves on those mistakes they have made. And on the Imo judgment, the Supreme Court has made mistakes, and Nigerians have pointed it out. It is now the duty of the Supreme Court to right their wrongs and make sure that the right winner is given his mandate. All right.
Mr. Sonny Umar, I would like to thank you so much for your time on the program. As a former CPS to former vice president and spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for your time this afternoon.